called, I think.
We appreciate you. How's it working out?
We'll call this meeting to order and let the record show that all board members are present, along with our board attorney and our superintendent. Would you please stand for prayer and pledge with Ms. Agner?
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this beautiful day that you've given us. Lord, we just pray now that you forgive us of our sins, Lord. And we ask that you continue to be with this district and to continue to be with all the administrators, teachers, students, and staff, and this board. Lord, just be with us and help us to make the right decisions for everyone that's involved in every aspect, in every area. Lord, we just pray your will be done in all that we do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Brings us now to the adoption of our agenda. And before we do have that motion, we have been requested to pull items 3 and 4 underneath 4.01. There are some questions that this needs to be asked. Pull items 3 and 4 underneath 4.01. And with that, I would entertain a motion.
Motion.
All right, Ms. Mathis makes the motion. Ms. Agner seconds it.
Ms.
All
Donnell.
in favor?
Donnell seconded it.
I'm sorry. Donnell seconded it. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, so carried. And I believe we've got a presentation report this evening from Ms. Densman. So I see she's here. So come on and share with us.
Danny. Phone number.
Good evening.
See all of you again. Thank you for asking me back. I'm happy to be here. There's been a whole lot of work done since the last time I was here to see all of you. We did appoint an implementation team, and that team has had a series of meetings. How many exactly, I can't tell you, probably 4 or 5 as a group, where we've worked on a variety of items. The largest project, I've also had several one-on-one meetings with your personnel director. We have created a hiring procedures manual and a set of forms to go with it. In the interest of trying to get that lifted off the ground, we went ahead and had a training for administrators at the end of June. We do still have a few kinks, I think, to work out in terms of some of the forms. As we were going through them as a group, we saw some things that we thought might need a little tweak here and there. But we're bringing that to closure. There's been an awful lot of work that's gone into it, and to help make the hiring procedures more uniform. I understand that another thing that came out of the implementation team was a job description for a personnel/safety specialist, which I understand got submitted and approved at your last meeting and has been filled. I did take the liberty of listening to your last board meeting, because I know there were some questions raised about the my recommendation for a resource manager or resource specialist, and the fact that what came to you was not just that, but it was a combined personnel specialist and safety specialist. So I wanted to take an opportunity to address that and try to assuage any concerns that might have existed for that, or take any questions. The reason that it came in as a combined position is really multifold. One, I mean, obviously there's the need for it, and I recommended that. My understanding from your superintendent and from the implementation team is that your existing safety specialist, who was provided through the sheriff's office, was gearing up to retire. Whether that was going to be immediately, in 6 months, in a year, uncertainty about that, and if there would be a need to fill that position. And also the understanding that the safety components, to the extent they were performed, could be paid for through CARES Act money. So the superintendent, I understand the superintendent had detailed discussions with your former safety specialist, Chuck Mincy, about how much time goes into the doing of that job. And I think when it was created, it's a statutory defined set of duties, many of which came after the Parkland shooting incident down in South Florida. And that was very front loader type position. A lot of the heavy duty work has already been done for that, and it's very much maintenance. There's significant duties that go along with it. But we had a lot of discussions about, does this need to be standalone? Could it be combined in the interest of being good stewards of the citizens' money? And, and is it perfect? Like if you had unlimited dollars, I would say if this district had unlimited dollars, ideally you'd have a safety specialist and you'd have a personnel specialist. I cannot supplant my judgment for the dollars within this district, though, and the needs of the district. So is it perfect? No. Is it acceptable? Yes. Is it going to be able to meet the need that's there? I believe so, based on the information that I have. That's not to say that you may come back at some point in the future and say, we need that person to be doing more personnel, or it's not working the way that we had hoped it would. And you might at some point in the future have to split the two out. That's a good thing about jobs. You can, and the fact that you all meet as frequently as you do, you can change it if you need to. Do I think it is acceptable? Yes, I do. So I did. That's why I drafted it. If I really thought this is just totally against what I am recommending and this is just not going to work, I wouldn't have turned it in. So, I was asked to take a look at it, had a lot of discussions, decided that that would be acceptable and submitted that. So I don't feel like that it's inconsistent with my recommendations. As far as recruitment, and Ms. Pule can give you specifics of the additional sites and things that the district is now advertising on, but the implementation team has met and considered many of those. I know we immediately launched into going to several job fairs that were available. We really, Ms. Pule, you and I need to follow back up with Valdosta State because we had some diversity issues there that they wanted to work with us on recruitment, and we need to circle back around and do that. So that's not all completely done, but I will tell you, we have been working. A lot of work has been done. I'm very proud of what we've done so far. Those forms, when we get them done, they will be placed on the district's website so that your administrators can use them and that members of the public can have them. All the forms are being done so that they are Adobe fillable, so that people who get them will be able to easily complete them and submit them, both for your administrators and for your members of the public. There will be transparency, so they will be able to see them. And some things, and if you want me to come back at some point, I know that manual is going to come to you as soon as we work out those kinks. I think it's probably a good idea if, when that's approved, I'm here so that if there are any questions, we can go through that. But it's good, and it's very clear in terms of hiring for this position. This is the process that it goes through. This is who does this task. This is who does this task. Making sure that all applicants receive notice of whether they've been selected for an interview. If they aren't receiving an interview or they don't meet minimum qualifications, they're getting exact notification of what specifically was the basis for them not passing on through to the interviews. Consolidating review of application in the district office to ease that burden on the school site administrators so that when they get a package of candidates and resumes to look at, they will know these people have already been vetted as far as meeting the minimum qualifications. So you don't have a situation where they get an interview everyone and say, this is the person I want, only to find out later that they don't really meet the qualifications. So it's just been a whole lot of work that has gone into it. As far as our future educators of America, the two clubs that we had proposed for the middle school and the high school, my understanding is that your negotiation team met with the union for the approval of supplemental positions, and that there was a memorandum of understanding that was exchanged. I don't know if that has actually come before you for approval yet, but I do know that that's in the works and that the union expressed not a problem with that. So that should be happening very soon as well. And those are really the major things. We still have some work to do as far as the new employee orientation. We've spent some time talking about that, but we felt like that getting the hiring procedures manual and the training for administrators on the front end was really what we needed to be focused on, because that has the major impact on the hiring procedures. So we've got some more work to do on that, but that's the report for the update. It's been a whole bunch of work done. I will tell you, you're getting free work now. I've hit the cap. So you struck a good deal. I'm not going to leave you stranded as far as like getting it done. We're going to get it all done, and I'm committed to see that through and to do it. But yeah, I'm proud of the initial report. I'm proud of the work that's been done to date, and committed to seeing it through till the end. Can I entertain any questions?
Anybody have any questions?
Yes, I have a couple. You stated that you recommended the job description that was presented for the dual position of the HR director and safety specialist.
Yes.
Okay, because when you initially presented, the concern that I had at the last meeting in regards to when the position was recommended to the board, when you initially presented the report, there was a job description in there. And I understand that that was just a recommendation, and for the most part, that job description that was provided at that time was a suggestion. I know by no means there was nothing legally saying we had to go with that. But I guess my concern came because not only in your report that you provided to the board, you also in your presentation, you it seemed like you was adamant in advocating that the personnel specialist was a standalone position. Now, that's what I gathered from your presentation. Now, I also know that night, because again, the board had just really got your report, and there was concerns about the length and the details of the report. There was really no opportunity for us to really dig into the report and ask questions. So I know I asked, and I thought we as a board agreed, and you had agreed that you would come back and workshop. That's yet to take place. Tonight, again, you're presenting. So I guess my concern was if there was going to be any changes in what you was recommended, it seemed like the opportunity of the workshop would allow the opportunity where any changes or suggestions that had occurred after your presentation or report, that was the opportunity where it could have been presented to the board, and it would allow the opportunity for understanding why there had been changed based off what you reported and you presented. Now, I don't know if there was a report added tonight other than what you presented, because my email has been down and I don't see anything on board docs. But again, as a board member, I was interested in a workshop. I was interested in us as board members having an opportunity outside of a meeting where we really could have discussed what was recommended and where we was going to be moving forward as a district in, looking at what you had made recommendations and what we as a board would be able to align to what has been suggested. It seemed like feet have been put in motion. And again, like I say, initially it came as a great report. Again, initially it came as a good recommendation, but now it still seems like we have recommendations, and there seem like there's still some backsliding. There still seem like things are moving as they were. And what my concern is, it's not from an interest far as someone pointed out an issue or something that didn't seem to be working. Is just, to me as a board member, I would like to see a clear path for growth in our district. And I don't see that. And I don't think staff members see it. I don't think the community sees it. And for me, the reason why, because initially I was just like, this is just going to be a dog and pony show. But when the recommendation came, I was really excited about the recommendations. But as of right now, I don't know where I'm at with what has been recommended and where we're putting motion. I mean, you're talking about an implementation team, but I don't know if any other board member, but I don't even have a clear understanding of it other than what's been reported and what's been presented. And for me, my experience as a board member is it always seems that stuff is getting thrown at the board, and there's automatically this perspective for acceptance. And for me to accept something, I need to understand it. But I don't ever feel like I get to understand anything that is presented. And for the district, for me to vote and suggest that we spend taxpayers' money when we noted concerns that we have as a district that keep coming up in regards to money, I wanted it to be an investment. I wanted it to be an investment that would seem like it was going to put out productivity, not just something that's going to sit on the shelf and we had the opportunity to say, well, we had someone come in and they said we needed to do this. They took a look at our process, if it's still going to stay the same as it was. So I guess that's the concern I have. So it seemed like conversation has been had in regards to the concern has came up, and I want to go ahead and address those concerns. I mean, I guess you did what, we agreed. You came in, you looked at the process. Now, if there's going to be progress or change, I guess we can only see that moving forward. But I guess I don't know. I mean, I guess, you've came in and you've provided, information as to where we can go and things that need to be done. But are we going to get there? I guess that's my concern. So that's the concern I had in regards to the changes in the recommendation of a dual position. Because again, HR is a very important department in our district, and it has a great need. But if we're not going to have the growth and we're not going to have the strategy and the development that's needed in that department, I don't ever see how we're going to make in progress when it comes to improvement. I mean, on recruitment, I don't see how we're going to make progress when it comes to the needs in our district, when it comes to personnel and people having an opportunity to know that they can grow. I know I spoke with the personnel director earlier, and there's concerns right now because we need teachers. But teachers don't want to come and stay stuck in the classroom. They want to have the opportunity to grow. But if there's no true path to progress and growth in the district, how does that come about? We need teachers. How are we going to ever really recruit teachers when there's nothing put in place for us to grow and develop in that need? So I guess that's what I was looking to come out of this presentation and this report. But I guess that's still yet to be seen. So that's the concern that I had with the position being a dual position, because I don't see that time is going to be dedicated with that position. So that's why I had the concern about that. And like I say, it seemed that the board could have got I can't speak for them, but I can know for me, I guess I could have got a better understanding if we would have had opportunity to workshop. But again, it just seemed like it's just, we get the information. I guess we're figuring it out.
Can I address?
That's fine.
If it's the pleasure of this board for me to return and sit down and, as you say, dig into that report and really go through every single recommendation, I certainly will, and I'm happy to do that and to come back and workshop it. I do take a little umbrage at the idea that this has been a dog and pony show though, because.
I didn't mean that on your behalf. I meant that as far as we as the district saying we've done something to impact change, but it doesn't see that change going to come. That's what I meant.
When I left, I believed that we had authorization for an implementation team to sit down and start looking at those recommendations and to put boots on the ground to start developing concrete plans, which is what, to my view, has been happening. Granted, I didn't bring the hiring procedures manual and the FFA memorandum of understanding and all of those things here for you to look at, but that doesn't mean that work hasn't been being done. And my understanding of how it works properly is that if you delegate to an implementation team to meet and to talk about and to plan, taking in view the real needs of the district and the money and what is happening, that incrementally that comes back to the board with suggestions for approval. I know that there's already been some money set aside for recruitment efforts in the form and some movement toward buying materials that we can use when we go to these various job fairs. There have been new signups for different sources of advertising. There has been immediate attendance at recruitment fairs. And some of these recommendations are things that are stretched out over time. For instance, getting everything on the website. That's not an immediate thing. Getting a schedule of recruitment fairs published by January and having that done. It is incremental. So I feel like that the team has worked and met in good faith and is taking steps forward. So I don't take anything away from the work of what the team has done. But to your point about coming back and workshopping, perhaps I didn't fully appreciate or understand the timing of that or the desired timing. I thought it was fine for the implementation team to meet and to go forward. But as I said, if this board wants to sit down and have a dedicated workshop where we bring that in and we dig in, I'll bring the desserts and the treats, and we will absolutely sit down and do that, because I welcome the questions. I welcome the transparency. I have certainly been committed from the outset to not only generating a review and a report, which I did, but to seeing it through to implementation. So from my perspective, I'm doing everything I can in good faith to deliver on what was promised.
I appreciate you, Ms. Denchman, and I appreciate you're a person of your word, that you're keeping what you said you would do. I've been talking with Kiki quite a bit, sending her links, and she's really trying hard to get the postings out where they need to be. I think it's going forward. I think it's progressing greatly. I think that this is a hard time to come into a position that you're in. You go anywhere, in any state, in any town, everybody's hiring. So it's just not that we're not doing something right at this point, that we're not getting teachers. We're negotiating other things, but as far as advertising and the things that we're doing, it's just hard at this point to get people to apply. So, but we don't want to keep you, but we appreciate you, and I really think that you've done a great job, and to hold it to the money that you've held it to, like you promised, I do appreciate that.
I guess as we look at all that's has transpired up to this moment, I look at it this way, and that is that we knew we had some deficiencies and we needed to do better. And how do you do better? But you have to come and have a game plan. And this basically is giving us a game plan. A game plan doesn't always just fall into place. It takes time, as Ms. Densman has said. So I guess the old saying is the proof will be in the pudding. As we follow through this process, we will see, hopefully, results, good results. And yes, probably down the road, there'll have to be some tweaking here and there. But I understand it. I don't totally myself understand every nut and bolt of this process. But this is why we look to hire someone to come in and to do, to help us that has done such before. So, and to the pleasure of the board, as she has asked, if you would like to have a workshop, we can do that. But we just will appreciate the effort and work and still ongoing work. And we hope to see some good things come from it. And so that's my perspective of it. But
I think Judy had something to say, but I do have a comment.
Go ahead.
My comment is I did talk to Ms. Denchman prior to the last meeting, before we prior to the actually voting on the job description, to get a little bit better understanding for myself. So she, pretty well answered most of my questions at that time, and I do appreciate that.
Ms. Denchman, do you have a estimation of how much longer until we're going to get the completed pamphlet and the forms in our hands to?
I would say within the next month. I mean, Ms. Puel and I have got to sit down and just kind of work through a few things. There was a handful of tweaks and things to the forms, and just a few things that we needed to change, but I don't think it's anything that will take any extraordinary amount of time.
No, thank you. And my second question is, and this is probably maybe for Kiki, but on the Future Educators Club, middle and high school level, do we have a stipend for that, or do we advertise, or how do we begin that process?
Well, we're in negotiations with the union to bring that up,
Mm-hmm.
and we have been talking about it,
Mhm.
and so there will be a stipend associated with that, yes.
Okay.
One for the middle and one for the high.
Would we expect it to happen this year then, that begins? Okay. That's, Ms. Hitchman, thank you for all
This
your
is
hard
probably a
work.
Kiki.
And I think that once we see, we have Ms. Poole and Ms. Bethay that'll work together on the human resources part and the making sure that it, everything comes to fruition, all the hard work. I mean, Ms. Anderson, I'm sorry. What did I say?
Say.
Well,
Wasn't
close enough.
I know, but I could tell.
But, so we'll have them, too, to help explain things to us as we go, but having the pamphlet will also help bring some of the shadows to light once we review that, and time will tell. But it is a great need, and I mean, we have high hopes that your hard work and the hard work of everyone in the district are going to help us solve a major problem, like Chairman Lundy said, and I believe we'll get there. Thank you so much.
There's no magic wand that can be waved. It's just hard work
Yes,
and daily
commitment.
decisions.
And
Thank you all.
I know this is probably in your doings, but once a teacher is hired, do we have like orientation day, introduction day, meet the superintendent day kind of thing?
August 2nd,
Mm-hmm.
we've got like K through 5 set up,
Mm-hmm.
and I think 6 through 12 have some workshops therein, so we'll be doing theirs on the 4th that afternoon.
Good deal.
thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Brings us to the point of the items of interest by the public. If anyone's here who'd like to address the board, would be your time to do such. We are just simply ask you not to discuss personnel matters or specific allegations against a staff member or student, because we can't, as a board, discuss such in a forum. But would you please address the board at this time? If we have someone, come on up, please.
All right, my name's Anna King from Steenhatchee, and I was invited today by Ms. Jeannie Mathis. I haven't spoken in front of anybody in a long time, so I'm a little bit nervous. So you probably don't know me. I'm a 4th generation Steenhatchean, as I call me. I'm raising 5th generation twins, 4-year-old. They're a hot mess, but that's why I'm here. So we are in desperate need of help from our board, from our county commissioners, to expand our ball field, revitalize, and just really do some major things to better our children in Steenhatchee. We know it's going to be a project that's going to take the board, our county commissioners, pretty much everybody to make it happen. We're not afraid of hard work. We brought the fields to what they are today. I got out there, got on my hands and knees, pulled weeds. We all showed up and did the work. We're not afraid of it. But we are at the point where we do need some monetary help, to say the least. Our children, I had 20 T-ballers. And for Steenhatchee, that's a lot. We have 100 kids in our school. I had 20 on a field. It was amazing. It was like herding cats. But they literally will run up to me. They'll see me in the store. Miss Anna, we love you. And it means a lot. And to know that we're subpar on our ball fields, which is a safe place for our kids to go so they're not getting into drugs, just anything bad in general, it's a desperate need, but it needs to be a public field. That's really what we're pushing for, not just to be with the school. Our goal is to work with the school to come up with something where we can have an agreement so it can be open to the public. So our senior citizens can come walk, exercise. We can promote healthy lifestyles. Good place for our kids. If I want to load up a bunch of kids and go play ball and just get out there and do something, we're in desperate need of that. We kind of have some things in motion with the blessing of our principal. I know we were speaking with the superintendent. Ms. Gina Smith is helping us through the Boys and Girls Club. We've got a lot of good things going, but we need your support. I sell real estate. I work for Hatcher Realty. I've been a pillar. I feel like I've been a pillar in our community for a long time. I'm only 27, but I have a lot to give, and I'm not afraid to do whatever it takes. So that's pretty much it. I'll gladly sit down, answer any questions. But I know that our community's behind this, and we would greatly appreciate your help.
What do you need from the board?
Well, the school owns the property. So, or the school board does, I should say. So I know that Ms. Jeannie had spoke with the attorney about getting a mutual agreement for us. And I don't really know how that works, how long that is, what that means. I personally don't know. So I do know that's the first step, is getting that agreement. And so then we can go to the county and try and get the funding to revitalize what is there. Because we do have a lot of space and a lot of good stuff going. It's just subpar.
Let me ask a question. We don't keep up that field though right now, do we?
We did help. We worked together to
But-
try to get ready for.
But we
the
weren't.
games this year.
But we weren't. We had kind of stopped.
Not really, because when we stopped having the baseball and softball teams, the school teams, we did not, keep it up. But I did talk with Mr. Anderson today, because Ms. Mathis expressed about, letting the community use that. And that's something we can definitely work on, is adding a gate. Because it's no different than like our tennis courts at the high school that gets used. So that's something that we talked about today, that we're going to, look at some fencing and gates. That way it'd be a little easier to get to.
Yes, it'd be great. I mean, we're okay with figuring out the maintenance at some point. Like if we could just get a game plan together, just get the ball rolling. I know we can piece enough together between everybody in our community to figure it out. We just, I know this is the starting point, and at least starting the conversation, because there's a lot of other great ideas that we have for our town. Our town brings a lot to our county. And, I've been in the service industry my entire life. I started dipping bait at Seahag at 5 years old, literally dipping bait. That was my job. And I've been in customer service my entire life. And I know what we give back to our community. And I want to see our community have things given back to them. Our town is growing, but not in the same way of providing enough for our kids. I would love to keep my kids in Steenhatchee forever and give them that opportunity. But right now, I don't see that in their future. And no offense to Perry, I don't want to send my kids to Perry. I want them to be in Steenhatchee. That's where I live. It's where I grew up. And I would love to see at some point us expand that. And I think all of these things are in that right direction. And I know y'all have done amazing things for our school. And I'm like super excited about that. I remember when you got elected, I was pregnant and you come down to my first trunk or treat I ever did. And it was amazing to speak with you. And then when you got elected, I was like, there's going to be change here. There's a hope for me to have my kids in school. They're doing their second year of pre-K and they can read at 4 years old. They're ridiculously smart. And I contribute that to everyone on this board. So thank y'all.
Well, thank you.
Thank you much. Thank you. Is anyone else this evening like to address the board?
So
That'll be the hearing, right? That'll be the hearing.
She's going to speak about, but that'll be at the hearing.
Like, forgive me, like, you know what I mean? I appreciate it. I
Okay.
don't know, like, I just want to, I do have a question. They don't have a baseball team at the, for.
It's an elementary school, so it's K-5.
Yeah, say, no, they never, that's right. I just.
They have a
Correct.
they have a rec league that has 5 teams. In Steenhatchee, we have 5 teams in our little rec program. Yes.
I'm glad to hear it though, but elementary, I understand, yeah, they do that also.
Okay.
I can't say
If
anything
there's,
else.
Danny, I think Jeannie wanted to comment on that.
I just kind of wanted to do.
But
a
we
little-
can't workshop it.
We can't workshop it, but just for clarification for the board, if anyone would be against us continuing with that, I think it would be important to know, like some kind of consensus to allow Angela to work through it. And, if there would be, not a vote or a motion or anything. I just mean the conversation that let's see what we can do to help happens.
Ms. Mathis called me yesterday, and we had a discussion about this, and she indicated that someone would be here tonight to mention that to the board, and my comment to her was that I would broach the subject with Conrad Bishop, the county attorney. I think the use of the property is not an issue, as Mr. Glover has indicated. They're talking about some capital improvements, installing bathrooms and that sort of thing, and seeking money from the county to assist with that. So that would take an interlocal agreement of some kind. So I had indicated I would speak with Mr. Bishop. I've not been able to do so today, but that is my goal going forward, and then I'll report back to the board at a subsequent meeting.
Okay. So as soon as attorneys can talk and figure out, then we'll.
Bring it back. Okay.
it'll come
Thank
back
you
to
very
us.
much.
Okay, all right. If there's nothing else, we move on to our agenda. And all the consent items were approved by the adoption of the agenda, except that we pulled 2 items. And we will look at those at this moment. 4.01, number 3.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve and then ask my question.
Okay, Ms. Carlton makes a motion to
I'll
approve.
second.
Second by Ms. Mathis. Okay.
This is and the only question I have, this is the tractor, and that's coming out of general fund, right? Okay. So we don't have, it's nothing to do with capital outlay because it's a piece of a disposable equipment, right?
No, it's because it deals with maintenance.
Just maintenance. Well, I know at one time we could pay a portion of maintenance a little bit out of capital outlay, but that's been, okay,
It's used to keep up ground.
Okay,
Sorry.
okay.
It's grounds maintenance,
Okay.
so you can't purchase that for capital.
okay.
So this is gonna come out the general fund?
Yeah.
So how is this different from, I thought BBTBC purchased something similar to this recently.
It was
Related to
the ag,
FFA for general maintenance.
So what's the difference?
We can't use those tractors for like general maintenance. They were used with the grant money, so they're tied to FFA.
you're talking about funding, right?
Yeah,
You're talking about the funding.
yeah.
But
That was,
it's the use, because we're not using it in that program. This is just to keep up.
Grass,
around
okay.
the district. That has to be general fund.
I think what she's saying, that was bought with grant
Yes.
through,
Through the ag, yeah.
it just left me, but she was able to do that through the grant.
Is there a reason why we now purchasing this? Is this something we've had and we need a new purchase, or this is just a new piece of equipment that we feel like is a need to the district?
We've had to rent like for mulch for the playgrounds, and also we've had to either rent a tractor or pay somebody to come do that.
Okay,
And then also the tractor for the fields is, if you've seen it, you understand.
So we'll be able to do the mulching ourselves. Okay. Okay. That's fine.
All right, motion and second been made. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, so carried. Brings us down to 4.01, number 4.
Okay, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve that.
Motion been made.
Second.
Second by Ms. Mathis. Okay.
My question on that one is, when are we going to put this in? No, when?
When will it be installed?
Yes.
It'll be installed during the school year, and Christmas break, spring break, and Thanksgiving break, and beginning of next summer.
Okay. Okay.
And one reason we went ahead and because before under ESER 2, remember we had to spend a certain point by September, whatever the date was. So we were able to go ahead and order this so that way it would fall under that umbrella. Well, now since then, they're going to try to do an amendment to change that date, but at least we'll go ahead and have the carpet on hand. It'll be paid for.
Well, it's not carpet, it's LVT.
Or LVT, sorry.
Luxury vinyl.
So,
It's not carpet.
so where will you store it? Out of the barn?
Stored at the elementary school
Tile
Oh,
makes sense.
and the middle school.
Okay, you got plenty of storage in it. That's good. I just was kind of curious about the installation because I just didn't think we were going to be able to do it before school started.
So is this coming out of general fund?
It's coming out of care,
So how this coming out of CARES?
flooring as related to air quality, replacing carpet. with,
Sanitation.
Okay.
All right. All right, motion and second been made. All in favor, say aye. Anybody opposed?
No.
Aye.
Danny, I have a question before we leave this page. I didn't want to pull it because it was nothing that I had real great concern, but since Mr. Peavy is here and Miss Lido is here, I wanted to ask the question. It's under 8. It's under, I think it's 3, 4, 2. Yeah, 2, 3, and 4, and 7.
8.01.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Brother Dan, before we go past that, I was going to see if Ms. Valentine on the insurance rate to just give a brief overview how we absorb a lot of those costs. You do that? Can she do that real quick? Just
Sure. I mean, we done approved it through consent, but that's fine.
Pretty much about how it was a 16% increase when you negotiated it down to what, 4? Yeah, just briefly.
I don't have the rate sheets in front of me, but the insurance committee met, I believe it was like 2 weeks ago, with our advisors from Gallagher, and the actuaries had come back and said that we needed to do a 16% rate increase for our premiums this year. So we negotiated that as a committee. We got it down to 12. And then the board has taken on 7.5% of that rate increase. So we only had to pass on 4.5% to the employee, which, like I said, I don't have the rate sheets in front of me, but I believe for just our premium plan, or is it our high deductible? I can't remember. The cost per month just for the employee premium was $12.01, I believe. So it's a 4.5% increase that was passed on to the employee, and the board absorbed the rest by increasing the contribution by $200 per employee for the year. So
I just wanted,
that was all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ashley.
I wanted,
You
thank the,
said you had a couple of questions.
just want to thank the rate committee and Ashley and the board for, I wish we had done it all, but appreciate us being able to, y'all agreeing to absorb that cost so it doesn't go to the employees. So.
Yeah, I had a question, which, I mean, we have the mental health plan on there, and I was going through there. I hadn't got a chance to read through it a lot, but I did have like 1 or 2 questions. Again, this ancient computer here, it's not letting me pull it up, but I remember reading in the mental health plan where it was saying something about, I guess, training for as some personnel, and I wanted to make sure like what personnel it was talking about, because I thought I read something in there in regards to teacher, but I wanted to know if it was something following up on our teachers, or is it something following up on the individuals that work within the ESC department. But I can't remember what page it was on, but it had like $1,000 designated in regards to us, some employees or personnel.
So DOE requires their program, they recruit called Youth Mental Health First Aid Training
Mm-hmm.
to train all staff.
Okay.
And so then the funding is to pay the $2,000 to Ms. Bethay and Ms. Haswell.
Okay.
To become trainers.
Okay.
And that
Okay.
comes strictly from DOE.
Okay, all right. That was my question in regards to the mental health plan. Now, also, like when we look on there and we're saying that we're training teachers, are we training teachers to have like a very, very minimum, like observation or assessment when it comes to a mental health concern? Okay,
So the curriculum is called Youth Mental Health First Aid.
okay,
So it's like hey, recognize when a kid's having a problem, struggling,
Okay,
or in crisis, and then what to do with it.
okay,
I have a licensed professional myself, Ms. Haswell,
Okay.
on campus.
Okay.
So it's helping them recognize what to do to get a kid through those things.
okay. And you say Miss Lila will go through training and then that will come down to the teachers?
Yes.
Okay,
We
all
are
right,
ahead. The state wants everyone to be trained. We're on our third year, and we're like 98%.
Okay.
And the rest of the districts around the state are not that high. So
okay.
Currently, Paul is the only one that's
Mhm.
going to be a trainer. I mean, I've had the training from Paul, but Donna and myself will be trainers, so we can, Paul's available. We can
Okay,
train.
all right.
So the maximum of 20 participants per training. So
Okay.
and every 3 years, it has to be recertified.
Okay, well, that was the question, because when I seen on there, I didn't know if it was gonna be like staff or is it was gonna be like district personnel, so I wanted clarity with that. But I guess my question that I have in regards to 3, 4, and 7 that falls up under 8.01. Those are like 3 different like contracts. And so I'm trying to figure out, like, we have Paul, but then we have these 3 other contracts. So what's the like difference in these services?
So number 3 is an MOU.
Right.
And so we have a memo of understanding with panhandle therapy, community wellness, and Florida therapy, for them to send our people in. And they bill Medicaid or their insurance.
Okay,
So that, we're not paying anything for. That's just a memo of understanding. So they can come on campus and have a relationship with Ms. Haswell, myself, and Ms. Bethea, Monica. So there's no
Okay.
funds exchange there.
okay, so there's no funds, they're just coming on campus and they're using the facility to provide services. Now, okay, is there gonna be any situation, and I know we don't know, but has there been a situation, because I don't know how long this panhandle therapy, if this is their first time or if they've already been in here in a previous year. But is there a situation where a child might be seeing them and one of our people?
So ethically, a person's only have to have one therapist.
Okay,
But because Ms. Haswell, Ms. Meditech, and myself are on campus, and we know of some kids that have some crises frequently or anxiety and that kind of stuff, we will conduct check-ins, see how you're doing, and making sure you're good in between your appointment with your therapist, or if you come to school guidance or clinic or are having a problem, then the 3 of us can check in on them.
now how does that work in regards to billing? Because I know Medicaid is very strict and I don't want it to be, and I'm not saying this, but I know sometimes you can have a situation of double dipping. So if this person is on their caseload and they're billing, now how does that work out when one of our people just check in?
Right, and I'm very concerned about double dipping too and that kind of stuff, and that's why we're paid out of grants for the youth mental health allocation, so we don't bill Medicaid at all.
Okay,
So they
all
can
right.
continue their services with
Okay,
Medicaid.
okay. Okay, so this is just if this student or whoever has a need, that means they're getting more than one service. Okay, all right, I got it. Now, is that the same in regards to Miss Vera and New Dawn, New Day?
So they
I meant New
like that,
Beginning?
Yeah.
Okay.
They see kids at no charge to Medicaid or whatever. We're here. And also this includes seeing kids who don't have Medicaid or insurance. We will be the only therapist.
So how does this play in what has come down in statute as far as the contract that we've taken with you?
Right. So are you talking about the amendment that's coming up tonight or that's already on?
Kind of both. I know you came and you presented to us the week before last
Right.
and,
So I'm here now 5 days a week.
Okay.
in The administration of the youth mental health allocation and curriculum and that kind of stuff, which Donna, you've got Batman and Robin. And I
Okay.
don't mind admitting I'm the one in yellow tights. a lot of
Okay.
time. And she's got the brains and the backbone, and I see her dialogue with that DOE about, is this right? Or I say, Donna, can we do this? She goes, that's not ethical. We got to do it right. So it's a good team. So her and I
okay,
have a similar position. The 802.1,
mhm,
the grant that came out in January, a CARES grant, said, here's some extra money for mental health. How you want to spend it?
right,
And all these other counties are bragging of, hey, you can get a big screen TV to do telehealth on. And I'm like, that just doesn't sound right to me. And so, because I kept my teeth on doing DCF work, I'm like, how about I do an hour home visit every day after school?
Okay.
So I've gone and seen kids that might drop out. I've seen kids who have been suspended that are not allowed in school. 2 weeks ago, I had a parent say, hey, my kid was Baker acted. I hear you will do home visits.
Okay.
And so I was able to go and see the kid after his release from his Baker Act. So the amendment is about me doing an hour, 4 days a week. And it's already in the grant from January and just renewed for this year.
So basically, this here just stating we have a contract with you, Panhandle, Miss Vera, and then New Dawn, New Day.
Right. And so Panhandle and Community Wellness are MOUs.
So they just on our site, but we're not paying them.
But with that other grant where other districts were buying big screen TVs or whatever, we said, we're not sure how many of these 200 kids we have referrals on, we give them the full service, and some of them don't have insurance. There's a part of this grant that will pay them at a Medicaid rate.
Okay. Okay.
We have them covered for that too.
Okay. All right. So it just looked like we just got several different opportunities in regards to mental health. Okay. Thank you.
Counties are struggling to find licensed help.
Right. I just wanted some understanding because when I was reading the paperwork, I was seeing licensed social worker, then I was seeing therapists, and I was like, okay, it's all seem like the same service, but I just wanted to know how it all tied into what was presented. So, thank you.
All right, thank you. Now this brings us down to 12.13.
Danny, I think she said, want to know if she could ask a question.
Yeah, I also want to know is, are these children being checked by regular medical doctors for ear infection? Because people that end up in jail, most of them have ear infections. I don't know that is really being taken into consideration as part of health.
We have our nurses are contracted through the Department of Health. And so our nurses throughout I think maybe like once or so many times a year, they go to the different schools and they have to do nurse screenings with the kids. And that is one of the services that is supposed to be provided. We check eyes, we check ears. Some of y'all that's in the classroom, I mean, administrators, I know I've seen nurses come in and they kind of set up. It's not like just that one nurse, like we kind of bring, like DOH brings several different RNs. They come in and they like sometimes they'll set up in the library and they'll do the different health screenings to make sure that the kids are getting checked out. Yeah. They still do that, right?
They don't really know.
They still do that, right? Okay, I was about to say, okay.
That's all I wanted to know. Thanks.
Okay. Now let's get back on track here now. 12.13, establishment of a position. Superintendent Glover is requesting the establishment of 2 truancy enforcer positions, one for K through 5 and one for 6 through 12. They would be an 8-hour, 12-month administrative position.
Motion.
Ms. Agner, you make that motion. Carlton seconds it.
I got a question. Danny, I know you presented this to us last week and I seen something about a salary schedule on here, but I didn't see where it stated truancy.
Yeah, so I'll go back and add.
Another one yesterday that had it on.
Yeah. It did come back out.
I didn't see it on the board docs, but I can't get in my email, so I guess that's getting worked out, but, okay. And, is this coming out of CARES or this coming out of general fund? Okay, I guess I want some clarification on that, because when Mandishment spoke earlier, she stated one of the concerns with creating a dual position was because, CARES money could go towards it. And then if we got these truance officers. So now I thought last week we was told, it was suggested that CARES doesn't go towards salaries. So how is that?
So you can't, let's get them backwards, so you can't supplant it. Okay, so you can create new positions as long as you're not supplanting. So these are new positions, but also under ESSER 2, I think it's ESSER 2, a certain percentage of the funds has to be spent on child find. So that means finding the kids who We had some, we didn't have a big issue with it, but that went missing or wasn't coming to school. So this will fall under the umbrella to meet that criteria. Remember when I went over the 20% of the money has to be spent in these criteria?
Right.
So this will check the box for that. So that's why we're able to do that.
Okay, well, what you mean by supplant?
So, say we already had a truancy officer, we couldn't just say we're not gonna, that's on a general fund. So we couldn't say we're just gonna move that position to CARES.
Okay, all right. I just wanted some clarity on that because I know last week in the presentation, there was concern regarding salaries. Huh?
He was just asking me that.
Yeah, I just had some concerns because I noted that when she spoke earlier, and then I wanted to know what was this coming from.
Okay, we have a motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, so carried. 12.15, the job description for the truancy enforcer.
Motion.
All right, Ms. Agner makes that motion.
Second.
All right, Ms. Mathis seconds it. Any discussion?
Danny, where did we get this job description from?
We had a old job description from 94. And so I reached out to Pace and they actually supplied me the job description from Jacksonville. And so we pretty much used Jacksonville's job description and plugged in a couple of the old responsibilities, the job description. So it was a combination of the one that, technically we could have went off the one from 94, but it was so old and outdated. We needed to update it. So that's why, there was things in there way outdated. So that's why we want to update it. But
So
Pace,
we've had a truancy officer in the past?
years ago, back apparently 94.
So what happened? Why did it go away? Huh? Okay. And this will be an administrative position? So they'll be housed at the district or they'll be housed,
So they're going to be assigned to school. One will be assigned to the 612 and the other one will be assigned to K5.
right, but that's what I'm saying, where their office is gonna be.
Probably at one of the schools, or they'll have an office at each school.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so motion's been made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, so carried. 12.18, establishing the salary for the truancy enforcer. All right, Ms. Carlton makes that motion.
Second.
Ms. Mathis seconds it. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So carried. 12.19, change in hours and days of position. Mr. Bray, Principal Steenhatchee is asking or requesting to change the CARES teacher aide position 011152208 from 3 hours, 9 months to 7 hours, 9 months for the 21-22 school year.
Motion.
All right, motion's been made.
Second.
All right, Ms. Agner makes that second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So carried. 12.23, reassignment of employee. Superintendent Glover is requesting to move custodian position 014179903, which is an 8-hour, 11-month position from the Teller County Primary School to the Teller Accelerated School.
Motion.
All right, Ms. Carlton makes that motion.
Second.
Ms. Mathis seconds it.
Will there
All in-
still be, the other 4-hour over there?
Will eventually, that person took a year's leave of absence.
Mhm.
So, yeah, we'll swap them. They'll go to the primary if they return.
So there'll just be one custodian at the, test?
Before we only had one custodian, it was 4 hours. Now they'll
Right. Mhm.
They have the CARES. We're going to continue. We'll still have the CARES person go by there.
Okay.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So carried. 15.02 brings us down to a public hearing at this time for policy 5.181, homeless students.
I'll make a motion.
Is there anyone who'd like to speak on concerning this policy? If not, what's the care of the board? Ms. Mathis makes that motion. Ms. Agner seconds it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So carried. 16.02, also a public hearing, adoption of the millage, approval of millage rate for the 21-22 school year. Ms. Agner makes the motion.
That is the 6.08. Is that correct?
Okay.
I'll
You
say.
second it. Ms. Carlton seconds. Is there anyone who'd like to speak at this time?
That's what the lady but they wanted to be here.
Come on up.
Well, I realize I can't pay a tax increase, and what does it all, like, I know I'm supposed to be able to figure out millage by now, but I can't. I don't ever remember what a mill is. And so they want an increase of, what is it? What is it?
Is this an increase, Ashley?
It is,
The
but it
state
isn't.
required increase. It's
Yes,
not.
ma'am, that's, yes.
Required local effort.
Get a grant. This is what I'm saying. You get a grant of $13 million from a state agency, which is our tax money, going to pay for their salaries to come back to you, which makes you have to be the heavies to levy it onto our property, which is ridiculous. And who made this law? That's another thing, because I want to make a phone call, like, said tomorrow. I'm not kidding. Like, I'm calling someone because it's outrageous. Like, you are forced to do this in order to get the money, right? And I cannot afford to pay it because what is this? A required 5.73%, right? And what did it say about the mills? It says something about
Actually, I think, correct me if I'm wrong,
the tax is in addition to the school board's proposed tax of 4.58 mils for operating expenses. Now, what does a mill, that means like a can of paint. I'm bringing my property up off the ground. That's where I'm supposed to be, underneath there in the dirt, jacking it up. You know what I mean? Putting it underneath the levels. Now, this takes away, and I've noticed here, I've driven through Perry, and I noticed property needs to be repaired. Well, if taxes keep going up, like, I can't afford it, and I work, I'm like retired twice, you know what I mean? And I still have to have a job. And so I pay taxes, and then this is ridiculous because the grant money is already our tax money that they're giving back to you. And now we're going to be taxed again, and the grant money already was taxed out of our taxed wages. I mean, it's like totally I mean, I come from up north, and I know you could make $50 an hour up there and you won't have a dime left out of your pay. And I'm trying, I'm down here trying to warn people. I worked in Philadelphia. Not only did we take state taxes out of our wages, right? That was federally and state taxed out of the wages. But then they took 4% city wage tax out of my wages. Then when I moved, now I don't live in Philly, so therefore I go back to where I live, and then they take another 1% tax out, borough tax. So yes, sir, that's exactly what they're doing. It's an outrage. You have no money. Plus then look at the price of gas. And I'm going to say another thing about gas. Don't ever call them. And I used to take phone surveys as well. And I talked to an ex-law enforcement official. He said, don't ask where the tax money goes on a gallon of gas because they'll come after you. And I said, yes, I know. If you punch it into your computer, you can get Mexico. You can get what they make off the gas tax in Mexico, but you can never find out what the taxes go to in the United States of America. And I'm telling you, do not ask.
Well, could we get
Miss
I just want to
want to say that I can't afford this.
Could we get your name, please?
My name?
Yes.
Nancy Fries. It's Fries, and yes, because I come from a revolutionary family.
Could we get,
Dewey's rebellion, he led an armed rebellion against the federal government for a half a cent glass and slave tax.
could we get,
But there were no slaves because only the minister had a slave. No.
could we get our finance
Oh, and am I
director?
done?
You've made your point. Thank
Okay,
you.
all right.
Thank
Will
you.
it help?
I was just gonna get,
Ashley, can you
to
get some
explain.
clarification on this, please?
Okay, so we'll talk about the, briefly the notice of proposed tax increase. I know this is a,
Ashley, I don't think she can hear you. Can you speak up for her?
so what that really means is kind of a convoluted advertisement. It's in general to the roll.
Ashley, walk to her. She can't hear you.
The notice of proposed tax increase is related to the rollback rate. So if you look at your property tax card that you're going to get from the property appraiser, it's going to give you the total millage levied on your property. And so if you look at, and they always give you a comparison from the prior tax year to the current tax year, you're going to look and see that the school district is actually levying less millage this year than they did last year. So I wrote that down. So it's the notice of proposed tax increase is related to the overall tax values. So what that means is the local tax base is going to have to pay in more money overall, not necessarily related to what the district's leveraging. I know it kind of sounds backwards, but so last year's millage rate for the school district in total was 6.397 mils, which means if your property was valued at $1,000, you're going to pay $6.39 for last year. The current year, you're going to pay $6.08 if your property is valued at $1,000. So the district's actually levying less mills than we did last year. The proposed tax increase is the overall tax base in relation to the rollback rate. So
But we don't decide how much is going to be levied. That comes from the state. They tell.
the state sets that
Right.
regardless of
Who
whatever.
sets this? Who makes?
Legislators. Legislators.
What is the name of the legislature?
It's several of them, ma'am, but our local
State.
one,
It's the
yeah,
whole,
yeah.
The House of Representatives and the
So
state
we would
senators.
contact our
Reps.
representative, which is Jason Shaw.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Yeah, I've contacted that guy
Okay.
before.
and I just, while I'm here, so
I'm sorry.
did I answer your question?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
perfect.
So I'm very happy. Thank you. Yeah,
Thank you.
Jason Shaw.
And so there was an article in the paper and I've gotten a couple questions on, you're welcome, a couple questions on that. And so while that article was correct, that the new property tax values, the increase in that, which was about almost 10%, does generate an additional $1 million. The district doesn't receive that. Just to put that into context, that just means that the state then reduces their effort on that side. So the district from last year, assuming the same number of students, is only receiving $5,417 more
Total.
for the general fund revenue than what they did last year.
Can you say that again? Because I think I think the newspaper did a story, and
They
I
did,
did.
and that's what I'm referencing
Right,
because I've
yeah.
got some questions
Because
on.
they
And
thought
while
that we were
that,
gonna get
that
keep all that.
article is correct, there is another $1 million generated from local property tax that the district does see, but then it's just taken somewhere else. And so if you look at the FEFP, they only funded each student $38.74 more than they did in the prior year. But that also comes with mandates. So there are categoricals. That's not just in general. There's categoricals that money went into. So overall, the district's only going to see $5,417 in total more than we did last year, assuming the same number of students.
And what is this, if you don't mind me asking, what is this board that, gives you this $5,000 or whatever? Like, what?
Once again, it's the,
legislature.
yes, that's
You
correct.
your
And the governor.
Congressman
Yes,
and the governor
yes,
And the senators.
yes.
and the senator.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
These are state level agencies.
So in other words, they take, I know, so this money
Yes.
goes to them first, even though
And
it's our
divvy it up.
tax money, and it doesn't come to you at all.
It comes to you. That's what it sounds like.
I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, it's kind of like,
Okay,
I'm sorry, no, I'm sorry.
What's her name again?
Thank you,
You
Ms.
vote on it.
Freed.
You got the motion in a
we
second.
got the
Thank you,
motion.
What was her
Ashley.
name,
Okay.
We have the
Bunny?
motion
What
in
was her name?
second.
We have a motion and
Oh.
second for the millage rate. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, so carried. Now it brings us down to 16.03. This is the public hearing adoption of the tentative budget of the 21-22 school year.
Motion.
Ms. Agger makes that motion.
Second.
Ms. Mathis seconds it.
Now that is the 43,659,000. Okay.
Anything you need to say, Ms.
No, I'm just
Valentine?
waiting to make
Okay,
sure there's no
motion's been
questions.
made and seconded for the tentative budget. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, so carried.
We got
All
another
right.
hearing though, don't we?
This brings us down to items of interest by the superintendent and board. And Ms. Ball, first of all, do you have anything?
I do not, thank you.
We do not need an executive
You
session.
do need a very brief one.
Okay, a very brief one. All right.
Very brief.
Yeah, I've heard that before. Okay, Mr. Glover.
Just to give you an update, I don't have the exact numbers on teachers. We still have some vacancies. I did meet with principals yesterday, late afternoon, and they were instructed to produce a plan that would, the least effect we could have on students by finding certified teachers, pulling whatever they needed to do to make sure we had certified teachers with our students. So they all, between yesterday and this morning, were able to come up with a good plan. We had a couple of more applications come in today, so we
So
made some more hires.
How many did you have roughly, you say?
What did you mean by pulling?
If they had staff that was not being utilized in a classroom and they were able to pull that staff to cover a classroom, that's what I wanted to see, to make sure we were putting as many people inside the classroom as we could. So I think it was either 2 or 3, maybe 4 today.
I'm not aware,
Because Casey had 2 elementary and 1, and I thought there was maybe one more. So I feel a lot better today than I did yesterday afternoon. The other thing is I want to thank you. I hope that this is like a big announcement. Thank the union, Katie and Cameron was there along with Tracy. Thank y'all for sitting in with Michael Monroe. So we were able to do a initiative. What's the word I'm looking for, Ashley? Not a bonus, but a incentive. So all teachers, and use as recruiting, will get a $4,000 incentive this coming year.
Retention.
There's a retention and to recruit that we can get any teachers in here the last minute. So I think that's a huge win for the district, and a lot of hard work. And again, thank y'all, Katie, for working with us on that. So.
And Ms. Tillman still looking for an instructor or
I
not?
think she's looking for the ENI is her. It's not exactly ENI, but the electrical instrumental.
Electrical. Mhm.
Everybody's working hard. It's busy, and next week will be even busier as everybody starts coming back. They did want to do, just to give you an update, prayer walk the Sunday before school starts back. And then on next Tuesday, we have the back to school event at the middle school. If you're able to attend that. Kiki, Sabrina, was that 8:30? I couldn't remember. 8. What time? Okay. So 8
Do
o'clock.
we have a calendar yet for the new year?
I don't think they've came in. I haven't seen Sherry with the. I don't think they've came in yet. We made some late adjustments on it, so I think it got held up.
All right, thank you, Ms. Donnell.
Yes, I just want to say God is good. And he knows far greater than we know. So, he is such a good God. But with that being said, what used to be heartache has turned into a lot of prayer. Because again, I'm glad that we are looking at, different plans, but again, it just go back to the advocacy for a true strategic. And almost at this point, it seemed like it's only could be from God, something supernatural, as far as what we need in our district, as well as districts across the state, as well as just across the world. It's just a lot is changing in education, and I didn't go into education, but God has planted me here, and He planted me here for a reason. But education has always been something that has impacted my life. And like I say, I always had the mindset that if I went to school and did what I needed to do, I didn't have to worry. But as life goes on, life shows you a lot, and it'll get your attention whether you like it or not. And the only thing that gets you through that is true peace, and true peace can only come from God. So I say that to say that when I express concern, it's not to judge, it's not to sound proud, it's not to sound as a know-it-all, but it is to offer, concern and dialogue and conversation for the true need that is in our district. It really concerns me that 5 years after I've been elected, not that I felt like stuff would happen overnight, that would be naive, but I just thought there were going to be a great progress when it came to recruitment and our needs in our district when it came to personnel, and a clear path for progress and promotion. Pay has always been something that is a hard conversation, but to know that, we've made some progress, but there still is concern in regards to pay. And then to know that if there is been progress, now we're having to come up with a plan where someone will possibly have to still teach, which I mean, teacher is the root of education, so it's always going to tie back to a teacher, is always going to tie back to true educators being stretched. But again, as a district, I guess, again, that's why I advocate that we have to do something. And I know progress has been done, and I know things have been done, but we have to be true, and there has to be truth in that what needs to be done. There has to be fairness. There has to be things done correctly in order for us to get what we need to get when it comes to recruitment, when we need to get what we need to get with pay. There has to be something done that has done in the right direction. We know we need teachers. We know the issues is what it always go back to is pay. And then every year it seemed like more is getting added to teachers in the classroom. And again, money comes, but it's not something that's long-term. And again, to me, I just don't know how that encourage retention. I really don't. So I was talking to a community partner yesterday, and like I told her, it's to the point where this conversation has got to come out this boardroom. It has got to go in the community, and it has to be a real conversation in our community. I think the two people that came from the community, and like the young girl said, yeah, she wants her kids in Steinhatchee. I get that. She wants opportunity for them. And I understand Ms. Free's concern far as money going up, far as, millage and everything. And I understand the state says one thing, but in actuality, it takes way more than that to get the job done. But the fact of the matter is it all boils down to what you're getting in return for the work that you're putting out. No one works for free, and I think teachers want to ensure that if more is going to come to them, that they're going to be able to see more, but at the same time, they're going to see opportunity for growth, and they can go to that growth and don't have to come back because of a hardship. And I just feel like, this issue with teachers is not something that started overnight. It's something that's been going on for decades now in this district as well as other districts. But when do you have the real true conversation that needs to be had in order to see the real improvement that needs to be done? Doing temporary things, that's temporary. but we have to do something in the long term. And I feel like we're doing what we can, but that's not solved where we're at right now when school starts and we know we don't have what we need. And then again, we really don't have a true plan in place as to what's going to get us there. And so I just want to express concern that again, it's not to sound pride or to sound like I know what's going on, but I can only imagine, the conversation. And I just feel like it's a conversation that needs to come. Again, I've expressed concern in regards to the paying scale. I understand when it comes to a temporary certificate that the state has said that's what could get you in the classroom. But I still don't comprehend as to how Super Puff can have an employee process. Georgia Pacific can have an employee process. Walmart can have an employee process. But it seems like out here, someone can come through the door and all they're required to do is to pass a drug test, pass a background screening. And they walk into the classroom making the same thing as someone that's probably been in the classroom 5 or 6 years. I don't get it. I don't get it. So I just, again, I feel like locally we have to do something that if we're going to invest a certain amount of money, it has to be something put down as to if you're coming in, what is going to guarantee that the investment that we're making up front, the district has something to show for. Because I don't understand how we can keep people at the same pay scale. And at the end of the day, the classification is different when you look at the paper. So I know that there's different concerns with that, but that's just where I'm at when tonight you come back. And I understand we're doing what we can, but I just don't see how you're giving a stipend, but you're turning right around and you're saying you got to do this. I don't get it. But again, we got to start from somewhere. And I just pray with the work that's been done with this implementation team. I pray that the work that has came out of this consultation is that it's going to get us in a better position when it comes to recruitment and when it comes to the real needs in our district. I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Ackman.
Well, I really appreciate Ms. Ditchman's coming and doing the things that she's doing, and I feel like that we are making progress. Change is hard, and we've had Mr. Thompson was stretched pretty thin when he was here. And I think he did a great job. But times change, progression changes. We have new technology. We have new ways of getting the word out. I'm hoping and praying that we can do the recruiting the good way and hopefully get a lot of applicants, not just one or two here and there that hear about it on our website, but we're actually reaching out and trying to get to the different universities. And I think, again, every state, every county's looking for teachers. Everybody's, looking for help. It's a hard time right now with this. And I don't admire Kiki having to step into this position and having to learn this and have the difficulties that's with it. And I do appreciate you hanging with it and working as hard as you are. As a board, nothing promotes success like success. And in our attitudes and our willingness to work with others and willingness to put forth the extra effort, to be kind, to be loving toward one another, I think that goes a long way. Morale is important. It's real important. And it starts at the top. And I think that I hope and pray that all of you know that we are on your side and we're here for you. We're not at war with anybody. I think our parents need to know we're not in war with them. Like I told them in the last meeting, this is a safe place for your kids. This is a safe place for you to come. If you need help, ask for help. As you see, we have plenty of help here now on the mental part and all kinds of help. So don't sit at home and complain about my kids not getting this help or not getting that help. Come and ask for it. It's here for you. I want to thank the superintendent for keeping us in between the ditches and thank again all the administrators and everyone's here tonight and appreciate all of you.
you, Ms. Mathis.
Miss Freed, you've just been a joy to be here tonight. Thank you very much. I just wanted, she was clapping for you, Bonnie Sue. I just wanted to tell you that. You put a smile on all our face. He put a smile on all of our face to be here, so thank you. And also, it was really good to see my neighbors from Steenhatchee here tonight, and I love that. So a really great group of young people, young parents, and that are coming up, and they're working really hard, and I'm excited to see what they do with their time and excited for us to have the opportunity to work with them. Tracy is working on her sensory room. I saw that in our packet, and if you haven't had a chance to talk to her about it, you should. It's very exciting also, and I'm so glad that she has the passion that she has to do the things that she does. That's a blessing. And also the Future Educators Club for middle and high school, I'm excited about that. I'm excited to identify our future teachers in our district, and I'm looking forward to them being mentored by our teachers and having the opportunity to join the new program that we started where they can go into the child development. Tell me the name of the program, Danny. We talked about it at the last board meeting, where they get the certifications and they can go straight to work from school. Teach.
With Kelly.
Yeah. I don't remember the exact name, but Brian, what you're describing.
I'm good. It suits me when it works out that way. But also, you said something at the last meeting. You said that if we could just move 20 kids in each grade, we could improve our district grade. So when you said that, it made me think that it's sort of like a challenge to the administrators. But if you identify the 20 kids you can move in each grade and put them with your best teacher, your most highly effective teacher, you will see great results.
You need
A lot of
teachers.
times what happens is our most highly effective teachers, and I'm a parent, I'm guilty of wishing, my child had this or that. We all have our favorites, but the truth is my kid doesn't need a highly effective teacher. An effective teacher would get her through just fine. She's bright. She gets it the first time. She doesn't need somebody to constantly reinforce their teaching with her. There are other students that need that. They need the skills that highly effective teachers put into their students and into their classroom. And when they get that, they get better gains from them. So to me, that would be the challenge to the administrators, to get those students with those teachers that can move them, that have the skills and the knowledge and the abilities to get them there. And effective teachers are wonderful. All our teachers are, but some teachers just got the touch with a certain group. And, maybe it's the level twos. You identify 20 level twos, that could be a 3 or a 4 if they just had this or that, and make sure that they have the teacher that can move them. And
We need teachers for that to happen, though. We need more teachers for that to happen.
Yes, we do. But, we're working on that. We're working on that even with the Future Educators Club, with the recruitment, with the things that Kiki is doing, and hopefully we'll be able to add more to that and continue. I wish Taylor County was the top paying county in the state for teachers. I think we all would love to have that. When we get student growth, we get more FTE dollars, and we get more money to pay. Right now, I don't know what percent of our budget goes into salaries and payroll. I believe it was 81% the last time I talked to Ashley. It's probably more now because we're using a lot of CARES money for salaries. So we have to be really careful, but they deserve everything we can possibly give them, without a doubt. Every employee is valuable, and we need to be able to rattle the pans to get where we need to be. And I think that's a goal for all of us. I'd love to see, something in writing that says this year, next year, at some point, this is where we want to be, and this is our plan to get there. And maybe it's a 5-year plan or something, but it lays down like what our future looks like budget-wise, as long as our FTE, as long as our budget holds true to whatever number. I think there's a way to do that. If we had someone who could be the architect behind that plan. But with that being said, thank you all.
Ms. Carlton.
Okay, just briefly, I wanted to thank the implementation team because I know that was a lot of extra work that they actually did on the, not necessarily the spur of the moment, but worked it in with their schedules and all. Thanks to all the hard work in the district. Summer's just about gone, and school will be here, and I know that everybody's going to be so excited. But I'm, I guess we'll be ready for it come what may. And our next board meeting is it August the 10th, Shanna?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Danny, can you give us a, what was the student count before school got out?
I'd have to pull it and say I don't remember. I don't remember right off.
I know I looked in one of that report, it said 2,600, so I was just wondering if that was
In person?
that was in one of the reports that was on the,
Tech or both?
it just said 2,600, so I was just wondering.
That's too many. It wasn't that much. And the website had a little more than what it was. It was like 22.
Altogether, we're usually around 26.
That's what that mental health report said was 26, so that's kind of where it's been the last at least 3-4 years, right, Ashley?
Well, student count and FTE are not two different.
I mean, if student count.
That's probably different student count. FTE is typically a little bit lower.
Okay.
I get to get, okay, my turn?
Your
Okay.
turn,
All right.
Chairman Danny.
No, get ready, get set, then go. And that's what we're in the process because go is coming very soon. And I know there's a lot of hustle and bustle going on in our schools with our teachers and so forth coming back, getting their classrooms ready and getting kind of geared up. And then, of course, all the other work from maintenance right on through. But here we are, and just a few days really before school starts. Just to want to encourage everyone to continue to work together. I hope we have the very best year that we've ever had. I think that possibly, hopefully that we may have that kind of year, but we need to do the very best we can because we may have some bumps down the road, and I'm hoping that we don't. But we just appreciate everybody. Thank you for coming, and we need to close out, and we got an executive session. We'll take about a 5-minute break, and then we'll come back into that. So do I hear a motion in a second? Ms. Carlton makes that motion. Ms.
Second.
Mathis seconds it. All in favor for adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So carried. Thank you for coming.
I really can't stay for